one thing that I've considered is this circle. And in this circle, it says 528, which is the frequency of love. And it kind of connects into the circle. And then it has two arrows. One's towards the past and one's towards the future, or left and right. And what it means is you're either going to continue on this circle your entire life, living the same life over and over again, looping, or you're going to, and like learning the lessons like we talked about, that we need to either progress and move forward or regress if we don't learn the lessons. So like that's a constant reminder that you're either moving forward or regressing or staying stuck in this loop, which is literally, I could think of nothing different.
Hey, welcome to the BeMoHappy Show, the podcast that's all about boosting your happiness and helping you navigate life's challenges. I'm your host, Morris Mo Chasson, and I'm excited that you're here and being a part of this new season, Resilience Revolution. We'll be deep diving into the power of resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to change, and thrive in the face of adversity. It's time to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and unlock your inner strength. We will be joined by experts, thought leaders, and everyday heroes who have faced life's curveballs head on and came out stronger. Together, we'll explore practical strategies, share inspiring stories, and equip you with tools not just to survive, but to thrive in the midst of life's storms. So whether you're going through a tough time, seeking personal growth, or just looking for a daily dose of inspiration, join us in Resilience Revolution. Get ready for a season of empowerment, insight, and a whole lot of joy. This is the BeMoHappy Show. The Resilience Revolution starts now.
What is it that people truly need and want? Like when you're down and out and like you're feeling you're just out of this world kind of when you're that sick. Mm-hmm. I was removed from my everyday thoughts and processes and conversations for probably like I had because I was in bed, like it was rough, but it gave me when I wasn't like in a stupor and just sleeping because I slept a ton too. When I was just able to think, my mind kept going to like, what is it that's going to be like the biggest benefit for people? Like, what do they really want? Not like, what do I want for them? Where are they at and what do they really want? So it was really cool to have that like pause to be able to think about those things. And then, like you said, these things happen for a reason. Like, I think it was definitely trying to make me slow down, deal with tons of stress and just lots of changes, tons of changes. And mentally, I'm solid. Like, you're not going to mess with me up here. But my body took the stress. And like I said, I had traveled a couple times and it was interesting. I think God was just like, hold up, slow down, let's pause, and it sure did. It made me pause.
Yeah.
It's an interesting phase of life for sure right now. I never thought I would be here, but here we are. Yeah. And it goes into the conversation of resilience and stuff. I'm not letting fear of anything come into play. It's just like, this is just a piece and my kids get to experience what I experienced. And like, it's all temporary. And they know that no matter what, their mom is going to be there making sure that they always have the best experience. Right. It's like, it's all part of the journey and I'm here for it. It's all an opportunity to learn something.
That's cool, man. The best way to keep going is to embrace it. You know what I mean? And it helps so much, because it just accepting it instead of resisting and fighting it. You know what I mean? And, that change.
It'd be so easy. Yeah. It'd be so easy to sit here and be pissed off and like saying negative things and all the things, but like, what is that going to get me? You get to choose. You get to focus on what it is that you're wanting to feel. And I want to feel it. Like I'm going to make the best of every single moment that I'm in, and not only make the best of it, I'm going to maximize it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool that you're strong enough and your power, that you're confident enough. Yes. to be like, you know what? I'm not going to put up with that bullshit. I'm, like it's.
And Mo, it took years. It took years. I made the decision, and this is the first time I'm publicly talking about anything to do with my past relationship. And I never want to slander or speak ill of anyone, ever. Mm-hmm. It took years, though, in order for me to have the courage to make the decision. And the decision was made, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
It's been that
long. Yeah, wow. A lot of people don't know. Yeah. My ring's been off since October of 2022, but to actually know with certainty and this is cool because this is what women are coming to me now for too, is relationship stuff. And it's the way the world works, right? You go through things and then you gain the characteristics and embody the things needed to help other people do the same thing. But to know with certainty that I'm good, it comes back to self-love, self-trust, that knowing that, everything's always going to be okay. And when you let go of what's not for you, so much more can come in that is for you. Like, it's been an amazing journey already, and like such a beautiful experience. So
Oh God, I love that. Like I got goosebumps. I've been having goosebumps for like the last 45 seconds or so while you were talking.
yeah,
Like that's so awesome. Like I love that for you.
thank you so much, Mo.
Man, I don't know. It does something to me. Like I almost wanted to cry, but I was excited for you, happy. Like it was
Oh,
just
thank
a bunch of
you.
emotions that I just felt. You flooded my mind and heart with all kind of crazy emotions. It's cool.
Oh, thank you, Mo. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself is to remind yourself how powerful you truly are, and how each decision that you make truly affects the way that your life plays out. And oftentimes I think I'm a bit morbid because I think about death so often, but it reminds me and keeps me grounded into the gift that being completely present and actually experiencing and enjoying and living into the moments that we do have now, like not taking any of it for granted, because we feel like we have so much time. But in the grand scheme of things, these are blips, like blips, our entire experience. And then also realizing that it doesn't always have to feel good. Like it's really cool that we get to like experience the full spectrum of emotions. Like when I'm like feeling like, oh my gosh, overwhelmed, and it's how quickly can I close that loop of overwhelm, which is what I teach other people, and that's what being resilient is, bending, not breaking. But even to be able to experience the polarity of joy, like or like it's just everything's a gift if you just see it that way, and an opportunity to learn something or learn something to share something. And I know you feel the same way. Like,
Yes, man, I love the way you speak, Nikki. Have you ever written a book yet, or is that something you plan on doing in the future?
I
Because
haven't.
I see your posts and stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, man, this girl could write. Like I love the way you write.
I
So,
appreciate that compliment, Mo. I have not yet, but I plan to, because I've had multiple people actually reach out, even in Messenger and whatnot, like, you need to write a book. I would so read your book. And that's something that I've been posing to people, and especially what do you not want to die inside of you? Like, you have these experiences for a reason so that you can share the knowledge. Like, if you think of all the people that you read or listen to on podcasts or listen to on YouTube videos, they took the moment and that they took the time out of their day to share what they've lived. And I think books are one of the biggest gifts we have. Someone is literally taking the time to condense all of their knowledge and experience based on what they've experienced to help you be able to create that result so much faster based on what they learned. It's so cool, and we can consume that in a few hours. And
yeah,
the shortcut that gives people,
yeah,
and
so
how
true.
much quicker you can help someone, for me specifically, break the cycle, whether that be the cycle of having a trigger, and how quickly can you get out of it so that you can enjoy each and every day to its fullest, no matter what you're going through, like being unfazable. Or breaking generational curses of knowing that, like, hey, I have the opportunity to experience an amazing relationship, but my mom or my dad put up with a certain level of relationship for so long, so I should too. Like, why do you get a freaking trophy at the end of this? Like,
Okay.
like there's, I
Okay.
mean, there's a time and place when you're committed, but there is a time and place when you're in a situation where you have to say enough's enough. And
Hmm.
that's in marriages, that's in business partnerships, that's in pacts with yourself.
Yeah,
There's so
that's
many
true.
times that sometimes you have to
That's
hit the
true.
breaking point with yourself before you look at what's actually going on and be like, no more. Like, I am not going to live this way any longer. So I'm rambling. I'll let you lead the.
No, that's great. Like I love it because it's just so much valuable information that the guests are gonna listen to. Like, oh shit, like I feel that I could resonate with that. I love it. Thank you for rambling because you ramble so well.
No, I appreciate you, Mo.
True story, man. That's so in that. So you studied NLP coaching, right?
Yeah.
And also mental emotional release,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And you help people break barriers and achieve success in life and in business.
Yeah.
right? That's you.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. So how long have you studied NLP, and like how do you help people with NLP?
Yeah, so it's actually on a podcast right before this, and he asked a great question. He said, "Was NLP one of the first things that you kind of came across in order to help people in mindset, or was there something else?" And I said, "I'm very grateful to have stumbled across NLP in the beginning. And my trainer is Kara Rice with the mind surgery method. I highly recommend her because you get to assimilate all of the techniques from someone that has practiced them, and you also get let into the methodologies that typically you would have to go spend 2 weeks at master prac for. Like mental emotional release is only if you go typically only if you go in person, like fly out to California and spend 2 weeks there. As a mom with two small boys, that's kind of tough to do, to spend
Hmm.
2 full weeks. So being able to have access to these tools and these practices, that, and this is one of the reasons I went into NLP, that no matter what someone comes to me with, I know I can walk them through one of my methodologies or processes and they'll come out the other end with a result. They're going to come out with the other end, not just the aha, but I walk them through a scientific based process in order to change any of those old paradigms that they used to operate out of, or the ability to release any of the emotions that's, consuming them, so that they can move forward in the way they want to, so they can get the outcome they desire. So NLP, I do a lot of energy work. You've experienced some yourself, so that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I love,
Incredible.
love, love what I do. And it's
Hmm.
been, you asked how long it's been. I started, goodness, I don't even know when I started at the Institute of Transformational Nutrition. That was my kind of lean into this
Stepping
whole
stone.
world of coaching. Yeah. And I started with that because I realized that everything that I was putting in my body when I was pregnant with my first son was creating him. And not only the food and the nutrition I consumed, but my thoughts and how that affected my physiology. And that's kind of where I dove down
Oh,
that path.
wow. That
Yeah.
is so good because it's so true. Like those our thoughts, and the things that we harbor inside of us, eventually, turns into something else. Do you
Yeah.
believe that too? Or that's
1000%, because everything that you think affects you on an emotional level. That's why thoughts are so powerful, because they can change that state. In that state, that emotion that you're feeling is the fuel that helps create whatever you're thinking about happen. It's like what happens in your reality. So if you kind of go really deep, it's all about frequency, right? And I can share a practice with your audience too. One of my embodiment practices, which you have experienced as well, that helps people get really clear on who they need to be, the thoughts that they'd be having, the behaviors, all the things, and then they can step into that person daily. And when you're stepping into that person daily, at least 51% of the time, reality can't help but bend and match what it is you're feeling and thinking about. So the more often you can do that, the quicker everything's going to come to you that you desire. And it's really powerful. And a lot of people don't realize, like I said before, how powerful they truly are at creating everything that exists in their life.
love how you said been reality,
Mm-hmm.
because it is like a complete change, and it's just by those positive thoughts versus those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
I
I've had
love.
clients say, I feel like I'm living in a different world. And
Mhm.
you have that ability in any given moment. Oftentimes, we think that the external, the things that shift in the reality, is what changes the state here. You have the ability to access that now. It's not when I get the Tesla S. It's not when my business is doing 30K a month. You can have that feeling now. Think about those things. Our imagination is one of the most powerful things to change the state of our body. And why would we not take advantage of being able to access that now? And it's actually an ultimate hack to be able to feel those things now. Think about what we do want, because, like I said, the feelings are fuel, and then to have the external validation and evidence show up. But also, in the meantime, leading up to that point, feel amazing while you do it, because you can only focus on one thing. You can focus on what you don't have, you can focus on the negative, you can focus on all of that, or you can focus on how you want to feel. With NLP, we always want to go towards. So if your mind literally can only focus on one thing, why not choose the positive? Why would you not want to feel amazing no matter what life is throwing at you? And that's what it's all about. Like, resilience is building that ability to, no matter what, shorten that cycle from trigger or that feeling that you have and bringing it back to a positive state. Because anything that isn't love is an illusion. Fear is an illusion. All of it,
Mhm.
anything that isn't love is an illusion. So just always coming back to that love, that peace, that truth, that freedom, that is your birthright.
Man, Nikki, I feel so lucky and privileged to be connected with you.
Oh no,
You're amazing. I love your whole spirit, the energy. Just you're good people.
it means a lot. You're
You're
good
awesome.
people too.
It's cool, man. Like we met what 2021 was it
Probably through Reggie.
with
Yeah.
Reggie.
Yeah.
That's wild to know that I've been learning this stuff and learning myself for just 3 years now. I feel like I've learned so much in a short amount of time, even though it doesn't seem like a short amount of time, but because it seems like a lifetime in a sense, really, because
Yeah.
our whole life journey actually gets us from where we were to where we are and where we're going. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's just a magical experience. It's cool to reflect back and like, dang, back then I didn't even know what an introvert was. I didn't understand nothing about like the feeling of abandonment and
Hmm.
just all understanding the feelings and the emotions. Now I feel like since then I feel like I've experienced all those emotions and learned them and understand them now. And I think that's part of our journey and helping other people with understanding their feelings and emotions. You know what I mean?
1000%. And you're not only aware of feeling those things, you're aware in so many ways of why you feel those things now. And you've went through processes to understand not only why, but to be able to give it a different meaning. Like a lot of times we're operating out of these past paradigms because we never take the chance to zoom out or have someone look at what's going on for you and ask the questions to lead you towards why you made a certain experience mean something. It's just like the story of the alcoholic dad with the two sons. Like one says, I'm going to be an alcoholic. My dad's an alcoholic. He made it mean that he needed to be. And there's the other son that never chose because his dad was an alcoholic. It's all about a choice. It's all about whatever meaning you want to assign to an experience. So it is easy to release from these things when we realize that our brain was just doing what it needed to do to survive and move forward. We experienced something with a high emotion. Our brain was like, what does this mean? We made it mean something, whether that was something with positive utility that's going to make you have good results and feelings throughout life, or whether that's something that's going to make you look for evidence to prove something that doesn't feel good true. Um, you made it mean something. And if it's not getting you the results you desire in your life, all it is a process to go back, zoom out, use some quantum physics, use some illusions and reframes, and be able to make it mean something else so that moving forward, you get what you want. Because that's what it's about, choosing to get what you want in any moment and realizing that you have the ability to do so.
Yeah,
And not
that's so.
judging yourself for anything in the past. You were doing the best with what you could and what you
Mhm.
had. And every behavior that you had was because of a need that you were trying to fulfill based on these childhood experiences. And that's it. No judgment, no guilt, no shame. All of those are so low vibe and low frequency. So releasing from that fear and that judgment and that shame, anything that isn't self love is going to put you in a better frequency to move forward.
Hmm. I love how you put that. I, I think it'll help other people understand. Like it's kind of starts within themselves. Because
Yeah.
I fully believe that once you start embracing and loving yourself and treating yourself like you are your own best friend,
Yeah.
I think like life kind of just gets better, and you're like, man, I don't know. You kind of joke with yourself sometimes, talking to yourself. And I don't know, like sometimes I feel like a crazy person because sometimes I'm in the gym and I'll just laugh, because it's because of a random thought that I thought in my head. But I love it, because it's just, I don't know, coming from a place of freedom and I say freedom, but free because, we're not holding on to bondage shit that holds
Right.
us back and keeps us in this stupid little negative type mindset. So
Yeah. I have a
that's
good
good.
friend of mine, Anthony Flores. He says, talk to yourself, listen to yourself. And that's so powerful because it's realizing that when these thoughts come up that are not so positive, they're not doing any good for you. You just need to talk to yourself more than you're listening to that inner voice. And if those are recurring thoughts, get some support or learn how to release yourself from those recurring thoughts, because there are processes out there that will do that for you. There are processes that in an instant, just as quickly as you picked up these beliefs, you can drop them. And a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their mind around how change can happen so quickly. And there is the repetition part of it as well, like making sure you are talking to yourself more than you listen and whatnot. But you truly can change your beliefs like this. I've seen it time and time and time again. It's just having the aha, which some people come in with the ahas and they have the frustration because they don't know how to release from it. But sometimes it's having that ability to have someone ask you the good questions or to zoom out and see how that happened and formed in the first place, and having a process to, like I said, change that, correct it, release from whatever it is that's been holding you back.
So do you think that some people would have to say like, I'm sorry, if you want to help a client like change their memory basically to a more positive type memory, is that something that would require them to take practice in changing that belief, or could it happen like that?
It can happen like that. I see it every day. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just chatting about this in the last podcast. I work with a lot of very successful people, and a lot of people think that people that reach that level are immune to the emotional instability or the hardship or stuff like that. But they're human. They're just like you and I. It's not at that level. It's a game of emotional, like being able to regulate your emotional state and your mental, like strength, basically your resilience to be able to, no matter what you endure, come back to baseline, and then also make sure that you're always going towards what it is you're creating. Especially when you have teams, when you have so many decisions to make on a daily basis, it is so important that you have the capacity to do so. And oftentimes we go throughout life accumulating all of these emotions and all of these stories and all of these beliefs, and we never take the time to release from them and empty that threat bucket. So people that don't, typically when something happens, like a trigger happens, like you get cut off in traffic, you stub your toe, something's going on with technology, it allows you to get so triggered and spiral and ruin the rest of your day. But if you have the capacity to be able to handle all of these things at once, then you can make the decisions necessary and life moves so much quicker. That's why it seems like some people can accomplish what most people want to accomplish in a year, a lifetime, in a month, because they have the capacity to not only make the decisions and have the behaviors to do so, but to hold that moving forward. Because some people can create results, but they cannot hold the result because your nervous system, your beliefs, the paradigms you're operating out of, they don't support that. So you find ways to sabotage it because that's what innately and subconsciously you believe, and you're never going to prove yourself wrong. You're always going to prove yourself right. So those subconscious programming and the subconscious paradigms that you're operating out of are so key. The identity you hold of yourself is so key to make sure that it's supportive of what you want.
I love that, man. Yeah, that's incredible. It truly is a choice. You know what I mean? Because we could fester in that negative, or we could just go to that positive and be there. You know what I mean? And I understand like those low times, the valleys that come, like, but the way I look at it now, like whenever they come, I'm like, what the fuck do I need to learn?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this is here to teach me something, you know?
Right.
So I always try to learn the lesson and keep progressing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And not judging those feelings either. Just let it flow through. The only way is through. Like there is some stuff that is going to come up in life that does not feel good. And that's okay. It's part of the process. Like be grateful that you get to experience it and that you're able like to get through it. Because you've made it through every single, it's so cliche, but you've made it through every single hard time up until this point. And you're gonna keep going. Unless you are dead or behind bars, you're gonna keep going. And Taylor Welch said it so well. He said that it's not that it's hard to reach a certain level of success and achieve what you want. It's just easier to give up. And that's so true. People give up so quickly in these greats that we think about. It's not that they're any different than you and I. They're just clear on what they're here for, and they don't stop. No matter what is presented in front of them, they keep going and they keep
Mm-hmm.
going and they keep going. And that's what we look up to them. We put them on a pedestal almost, but it's just because they embody the characteristics and they exude what we wish we had. And
Mm-hmm.
that's they keep their word to themselves and they don't stop. So they always made a difference. And that's what it's all about for me is making sure I'm helping the people that are here to help other people, like the legacy makers, the game changers, the people that are really focused on making that impact, not only for themselves directly, but for so many lives that surround them too.
Yeah, man, that's so true because I think sometimes we'll fall into that comparison type mode, like why the fuck
Mm-hmm.
is it taking me so long, or whatever. But
Yeah.
we don't know that Gary Vaynerchuk been doing this shit since the '90s.
You put in the reps. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And Alex Hormozy been doing it since 2010 or
Mm-hmm.
2011 or something like that. But just now, not just now, but like they're big now. But it takes time. It takes years.
Yeah.
You got to build it. So
Yeah.
and that's
It
smart.
reminds me of a question I was just talking about with the past podcast host. He said, "What do you think is more important, physical strength or mental?" And my mind went mental because if you have strong mental strength, then you'll do anything physically that you need to do to stay in shape. But his line of thinking was if you are strong physically, that completely it grows that confidence, it grows that mental strength and grit, and it's so true. And I love his thinking because it's just like with entrepreneurs, it can be a trap of thinking that when we're learning, we're progressing. But when you learn, you don't get paid anything until you do. Action is what creates that cash flow, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
ability to actually be reaching the people that we want to help.
Hmm.
So I love that because his was based on the physical strength, the behavior, the doing, creating the results of the mental strength. So it was a byproduct that actually got the results because you were taking action, which I think is so, so important. And I had
Mm.
mentioned to him how so often I've even been told, like, oh, hot girl advantage. Like, everything must be easy for you because you're pretty, yada. I'm like, okay, for one, it'd be easy for me to, or easier for me to turn into a slob, not take care of myself, not go to the gym, not make the choice to eat healthy, not pour into myself daily, making sure that I'm showing up as the best version of myself. But it's always sought, or it can be seen as this, like, oh, you have good genetics type thing. And the reason that exists is because people don't want to take ownership over them doing it themselves as well. But I think what we truly admire in people that have the physical aesthetics that we like and that is sought after, it's because it embodies the characteristics of someone that has discipline, that keeps their word to themselves, that makes the right choices. And that's why we admire someone who shows up in a physical meat sack that is desirable versus something that is the result of not keeping their word to themselves or knowing what to do but not doing it, because that is a reminder of everything we haven't done
Yeah.
and that we're capable of but
Hmm.
not willing to take ownership of. So sometimes it's that hard look um, to make the changes, but also I think so often it's not just the physical, like, oh, she's pretty or oh, he's handsome. It's she looks like that, he looks like that because they're disciplined, they're
Hmm.
consistent, they're a person of character that says that they want this and they actually get it.
Yeah. I love how you said that hot girl advantage. Is that what you said? Hot girl
Yeah.
advantage?
Yeah.
That's so funny.